And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com. www.galacticfriedchicken.com for everything Galactic, including delivery to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or you can head down to Dayton, Kentucky, Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner. Tell them to pump it up, and you will save yourself 15% off of the Galactic goodness. It is out of this world. All right, let's get rolling. Aaron is doing the dad thing. What?
Nothing.
Oh, you pointed like you like.
I unmuted with some attitude.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what I did.
Aaron's doing the dad thing tonight. He's got baseball, so filling in our guy Keegan Nickoson. What are you sipping on there?
Kirkland Gang, Costco,
lemon sparkling water.
Yeah,
I worry about you sometimes. Keegan is going to sit in tonight. We didn't have a nightcap last night. We did talk a little bit about the addition of a lot about the addition of Connor Hickman there, but we haven't done so on the nightcap. So Keegan is going to fill in tonight. We will discuss Connor Hickman and how he fits into the roster, and also another addition today with our guy, our old friend, old pal of the show, Arrinten Page, who transfers from USC to Cincinnati and gives Cincinnati a lift on the interior after losing three big guys into the portal. You add Page into the fold. So we will discuss that, and maybe we'll get into a little what we think is next, because they're in about as advantageous a position as you can be in the transfer portal now.
Mm-hmm.
You had to get a couple things done. I think they have gotten the majority of that done, and now they're kind of at a luxury point. So first we'll start with Hickman. I know you had to be devastated that the Bloomington kid decided not to stay home in Bloomington and matriculate to the Queen City. But Hickman transferred from Bradley, averaged 14 points a game last year, was Bradley's leading scorer, shot 40% from three on volume, is a guy that can also finish around the rim, and those numbers, I think, and we pushed it back. We were going to do this how in touch Chris Lepore is, Keegan. I hit up Chris this morning, like 7:30, and I said, hey, what time do you want to record the Hickman episode of The Breakdown? And he hit me back and he said, why don't we do it tomorrow so that we can do a breakdown on both of them? And I said, oh, Chris is working the insider game. He knows what's going on.
Chris needs his Discord. He needs to set up a Discord.
So he said, let's record tomorrow. So we're going to record Wednesday, and we'll go over film of Connor Hickman and Arrinten Page. But as far as Hickman goes, this was the worst 3-point shooting team in the Big 12 in Big 12 play. And it's kind of miraculous that their offense wasn't completely stagnant. There were times, there were periods, but that they were still able to be okay offensively without the ability to knock down the three consistently. But it had to get better in the offseason, and it had to be your number one priority. And I think they go out and they get a guy in Hickman that he's going to be able to stretch the defense, and he gives you more than that. He's not just a stationary catch and shoot guy that's not going to help you. I think there's a lot more to his game that people will realize as he, gets on the floor for Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I think it's the thing you mentioned. The most interesting part to me is how well he finishes at the rim.
52% from two.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that against Cincinnati at Fifth Third Arena and the NIT. You kind of see it when you watch his highlights. I think that's something relatively that Cincinnati needed was someone who can knock down an open three and will mainly be catch and shoot, but then can also like have a priority to get to the rim when he can. I don't think Seamoss gets to the rim as much as he possibly could. I know he likes that floater a lot, but in terms of actually getting down and dirty, maybe drawing fouls and shooting free throws, I think that's where Hickman can come in. Now, he was 70% from the line this past year, up from 57 the year before. So kind of something to be desired at that part of his game. But I mean, the other thing I saw is his release is so quick and efficient. It's one of the better ones I've seen of just how he shoots.
Yes.
So I think it's a good get just because of how mature he is, and how experienced he is and how motivated he is. And then you add on the fact that he shot 40% from three, and Cincinnati needs that very badly.
So, you kind of touched on something that I think is important in his shooting motion and his ability to catch and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
When asked to do that, if you are a guy that doesn't take any time, right? Bang. Like you catch it, you're in the pocket, the ball's coming out clean. It creates an urgency to close out, either A, to close out, or B, to leave a dedicated defender on that guy, to tag the shooter is the basketball term for it. If you tag the shooter, if you go back and watch some of the stuff with Chris, like when CJ Frederick was on the floor, teams couldn't leave him. So it would open up that driving lane where if you play off the ball screen to the strong side where the shooter is, and that guy can't leave, if your guard can turn the corner, there's pretty much a free path to the rim because they can't help. Or if they do help, his release is so fast that the closeout has to be overemphasized.
Yeah.
If you're only a catch and shoot guy, that closeout can mean that you've got to pump fake and like reestablish, reset, and restart the offense. Because he can finish, he can attack the closeout and watch the guy closing out, run by him, and then get into the lane and get you a basket. So it opens up a couple different avenues of ways to make the offense more effective. And, I think that was important. Obviously, you want to get a guy that can shoot, but in a perfect world, you want to get a guy that can also get the defender in the air, pump fake, get downhill, make the defense collapse, and then, either finish or make the next pass. And now your defense is in a scramble drill. And again, it allows for better offense. So I think that's one of the things that offensively that changes. The other thing is, I think it gives you another high IQ guy that's on the floor a lot. I thought offensively when CJ and Seamoss were on the floor together, because both of them could move, could pass, could shoot, could screen, could do a lot of different things that make your offense effective. When you lost CJ, some of that went away. If you put Hickman on the floor with Seamoss, I think your offense, just strictly in terms of executing the set, executing whatever look you're trying to get, executing even if you're playing flow, you're just in a much better position to execute offense with Hickman on the floor.
Can I ask you a way too early starting five for next year?
Sure. I mean, with Hickman, I'll go path of least resistance on what we know the roster to be right now. And we'll get into this on the back end of this show. You go with Jizzle at point guard. If he can defend, if his defense steps up, I don't think you can keep him in a bench role. His offensive package is too effective to be able to play him 18 minutes a game. I think he has shown enough that he jumps up to that 20, 25 minutes a game spot. So Jizzle at point, Hickman at the 2, or Day. I mean, I think I would go Hickman. And then you've got Day as kind of that stopper, that defensive specialist. Although if your defense struggles, I could see starting Jizzle and Day at the 1 and 2, and then Hickman is the change of pace to bring some offensive pop off the bench. Dan at the 3, Seamus at the 4, Aziz at the 5.
Okay.
How about you?
What if I were to say Day, Connor, Seamus, or no, Day, Connor, Dan, Seamus,
Aziz. I wouldn't, like I said, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I think though. What?
That phrase. 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
You've never heard that before? That's new to you?
It's like you put the emphasis on wrong syllable.
No, that's an old school. That's an old school phrase that's been around for ages. I can't believe that's the first time you ever heard it. I don't think you could go wrong. The beauty of it is, Keegan, you now have 3 guys for 2 spots, where any combination of the 3, I think you're fine with. Yeah, I think you're in a good spot with any 2 of those 3 as your starters at the 1 and 2.
So where do you think Josh Reed falls in the 9 to 10 man rotation?
Right now, he's probably a backup at the 4. Okay. You know, I think he's going to need to, if he's going to transition and play any 3, his ball skills have to get better. Yeah. That was something he was really adept at in high school. I just don't see him when he dribbles. I don't see him doing it with a lot of confidence. I didn't this year. Josh has got to get that confidence picked back up with the ball in his hand, or else he just becomes the guy that just is a catch and shoot guy. And I think he can be more than that offensively. There is a reason I thought he could be 1,000-point scorer. And some of it was, most of his work in high school was done playing downhill off the bounce, like straight line drive. He had a really effective spin move in high school that I've very rarely seen him try to use at the college level. And he got to the line a ton in high school. So those are things that we haven't seen translate yet. Maybe they won't. Like maybe at the college level, he doesn't have the quick twitch to add those things more consistently into his game. But I think right now he's a defense, like a 3-and-D 4-man off the bench, which that's going to also depend on what we talk about at the end of the show, which we're running out of time. So let's get to Arrinten Page. Obviously a guy Cincinnati was familiar with. They recruited him very hard coming out of high school. And this one really didn't get a lot farther. It didn't sound like, I mean, I'm sure there were others that tried. This one didn't get a lot farther than Cincinnati because the coaching staff basically said, look, man, like, we don't have to talk to you about anything. You have heard all of it. You know our plan for you. You know exactly how we want to play. You know everything about our staff. You know most of our players. Like, you don't have to go through speed dating. We have dated. We were on a break, but we dated before.
I heard that comment on the show last night.
Yeah. But that's kind of the thing. Like, you're as familiar with a kid like Arrinten Page, and Page is with you, then you're going to be anybody. And somebody made a great point. It's also why you recruit hard, but you don't burn any bridges at the end of a recruitment. You don't get your feelings hurt. You don't, talk shit. You just say, hey, wish you luck. And if the door ever opens, we'll be here. Give us a call. And that's kind of what happened with Page. And, I think right now you're looking for specifically somebody that can give you 15 minutes a night backing up Aziz at the 5. I think Page can do that. And you're looking for somebody that kind of matches that skill set of what you want to do. I do think, I don't know if people agree with me. I do think this was kind of a problem, Keegan, last year, when you have essentially you have to run 2 different offenses based on your big.
Yeah.
Because what they wanted to run with Jamil was not what you wanted to run with
Not even
Aziz.
close.
Right. So now Page is he's a little more skilled than Aziz is. He can shoot it a little bit out to three, a little bit more coordinated with the ball in his hands, but he's still not like a bruiser. He's not a back to the basket, duck in, carve out, catch it, the old catch it, one hand. That's not really his game. So I think you're going to end up playing pretty similar with him on the floor as you will Aziz on the floor.
That's something I didn't even really think about. And when I was watching his highlights today, he loves cutting to the basket.
Yes.
Loves the oop. And then on defense, he's kind of a shot blocker, a pretty good rim protector. I know one of his strengths was block rate, and I think it was among some top 100, 150 in the country, maybe.
I mean, it was low minutes, but he has good timing. He's at 6'11", the kid is an incredible athlete for somebody his size.
And I think it just looked like he had good instincts too. Like it looked like he was where he was supposed to be, or he at least ended up in an advantageous situation to have an impact on either end. So, but yeah, I mean, what you were just talking about earlier with not getting feelings hurt and stuff in recruiting. LeBaron Philon, is that how you pronounce it?
LeBaron Philon.
LeBaron. Put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. I mean, 4-star Kansas guy that they were high on. You never know what could happen with him. Jace Richardson. Isaiah Evans.
You end the relationship well.
Yeah.
I was really hoping we get like Cohen Carr in the transfer portal because Berg might have come out of retirement if Cohen Carr was on this team. That is a guy that is my favorite dunker in college basketball in a while.
Yeah.
He dunks angry. Like he's only 6'5", 6'6", and he's trying to like fold you into the rim. But I mean, I look, am I the biggest Arrinten Page fan in the world? No. Some of that is he was so used to playing with Isaiah Collier, and then Collier got hurt, and it impacted the rest of his AAU season. I'm also hearing he might have been sick at that point. I think he had mono, which
Collier
would explain Page.
Okay.
Which would explain why maybe at times his effort didn't look where it should be. Kid had mono. Way to go, me. I look like the jerk in that situation. But, there's an adjustment. He's been playing with Isaiah Collier forever, and then all of a sudden, Collier's not next to him, and the guy that's playing point guard is not an elite passer. Well, that's going to affect your game. But hopefully now, after a year in college, they always say the biggest jump is between your freshman and sophomore year. You get him into the system, you get him comfortable, and now you have a guy ready to step in. You have a guy I think is ready for 15 minutes a game. Is he ready for 25 minutes a game? No, I don't think he's ready to be a primary big guy yet. But the hope is you get him here, you get him acclimated, and then the next year he's ready to take over when Aziz is exhausted his eligibility.
So it makes sense that he had mono because I went and watched him in Louisville and then got a really quick interview. Didn't get much out of him. And then
Were you in that scrum with me?
I don't think so. No, I was because I talked to you. Remember, I talked to you on the baseline.
Yeah.
And this is the headshot I got of him. He's like, dude, get out of my face. Leave me alone.
He doesn't love the media stuff. Quiet kid, doesn't have a whole lot to say. But the talent is undeniable.
Yeah.
6'11", long, can move, can block shots, can run, like I said, can shoot it a little bit. So it makes perfect sense why Cincinnati is interested in filling that spot with him. Now, do you have one more thing to add?
High ceiling guys kind of work out at Cincinnati.
And bigs tend to take longer to develop.
Yeah.
They just do. Mm-hmm. Especially, he's young. He just turned 19.
Okay.
So, I like what it can be. It's going to now be up to Page to come in and do the work and be ready, because there is going to be an important role asked of him. It's not going to be a life or death, but backup, guy on the 2 deep that's going to play 15 minutes a game. Because the thing is, like, if you need CMOS to play 36 minutes a game, CMOS can play 36 minutes a game. Aziz can't do that.
Yeah, no.
Like, you're not going to be able to lean on Aziz and say, we need you for 32 a night. He needs to be 22 to 25 minutes a night. So that spot, it has to be covered 15 to 18 minutes. And I think Page will be ready to do that. It is up to the staff to get him to that level. We're already long. So real quick, 1 spot left. What would you do with it? Not a specific guy, but like, what would your priority be in terms of if we go through the rest of this and 1 spot remains?
Not a specific guy, so I can't say Bronny.
I mean, you can.
No. I'm not even getting into that. I just, based off the Big 12 and what I've seen the good teams do, I would go after a kind of longer athletic wing guard type guy.
So like a 6'5", the 2-3 type.
Yeah, a taller Connor Hickman that can get to the rim better. And maybe his focus is even mid-range, getting to the rim, and he can knock down free throws very well. Very, very, very well.
So basically more of a scoring wing is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I would like to add more shooting. I'm greedy in that department. I think
here's a question I'll ask you. What are the chances this next edition is in the starting lineup next year?
That's gonna be kind of part of my answer.
Okay.
So I think you can go 1 of 2 ways with it. I think you can still. We talked about this at the beginning, and like I said, I think the NIT maybe changed my perspective on this a little bit, where you had to go get a 16, 17 point a game bucket getter. I don't think that's as necessary, because I think you saw some guys make big strides at the end of the season. So I would look for another 2-3. This is an either another 2-3 type that is maybe not a 40-42% shooter, a little more of a slasher, but still in that like 35, 36, 37% range, where they've got some ability to stretch the defense along with attacking and playing downhill. But I think if you're going to go that route, it needs to be a guy that is a really good defender.
Yeah.
Because I think, obviously you have not replaced John at this point. I think Hickman will be I think he's a better athlete than people realize. I think he will be an okay defender in the Big 12. But I don't think he's going to be like a stopper, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You haven't replaced John. I think Dan made incredible strides at the end of the season defensively. And I've talked to, staff, people around the program about this to make sure I was seeing what I thought I was seeing. And that was that he got significantly better executing the defense. He wasn't lost nearly as much, where he took a wrong step, or he went under when he should have went over, or he got caught here and ended up 2 actions behind. I just didn't see a lot of that at the end of the season. So I think Dan can be really good there. But if you go get a wing, I want them to be a guy that can defend at a pretty high level. Or you go look at a starter level 4 that can give you some clock at the 5 if necessary. And then if you have to shift up where, that guy splits time with CMOS at the 4, CMOS can also move up and get some minutes behind Dan at the 3. That guy can also give some minutes behind Aziz and Page at the 5. I think those are kind of your two options. Ideally, you would like that guy to be able to shoot. You would like him to be able to rebound and defend. I mean, let's be honest. Mason Gillis was the perfect fit for what this team needs. With Duke heavily involved, I think that one's going to be difficult. But that type, like, can shoot 45, like, he's way up there in terms of what he can shoot. But he also, team guy, rebounder, defender, can knock down threes at pretty good volume. And he's gonna fit with how your program exists. When I saw him go in, I'm like, that is the ideal fit for what this roster needs.
Yeah.
I just, I never feel good when I see a Duke or a Carolina or a Kansas pop up, especially in the portal, because they're going to win. They're going to win that fight.
How good is Ethan Morton defensively?
I don't know. I haven't watched him enough. And that's, I hate defensive metrics because I don't think the metrics have any real ability to tell you how does this kid actually defend. Like, it can give you points per possession. It can give you, but like, what if his team sucks at help defense and the guy's just on an island all the time? Or what if his team's great at help defense and they cover his ass? And then you get him thinking you got an elite defender and, oh, that wasn't it. That wasn't why his analytics were good.
Yeah.
So that part I think is, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him to tell you.
I would love a guy that would just he would just check the box of being there multiple times. Like somebody who's played in 3 to 4 NCAA tournament games, 4 to 5 NCAA tournament games. So he just knows what it takes to get there. Because we know that's a huge thing. So I think that and free throw shooting. Someone who gets to the rim and makes free throws. Because I think if this team had someone that could show them that you can make free throws efficiently, I think everyone shoots better.
Yeah,
I not to the line enough.
Well, that's the biggest problem with this team is they aren't laced with guys that draw fouls.
Yeah,
like
it's basically day.
Yeah. Now it's not even really like he didn't draw that many for as much as he played downhill and drove. As much as he landed on the floor, he didn't draw a lot of fouls. He didn't go to the free throw line a lot, right? So even if your numbers are good, they don't matter as much if you're only at the free throw line 10 times a game.
Yeah.
So add that to the list. Somebody I like that part of your list. Somebody that can get to the line.
Yeah.
And make them.
Gotcha.
Those would be nice. And somebody that can score from 2. All right, that we've gone way too long. I'm sorry. We should have gone live. We should have gone live tonight. It is what it is. That's the nightcap. Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Right here on Bearcat Journal. Go. There it is. Oh. Right here on BearcatJournal.com. It wouldn't go.